Hello everyone, welcome back. Today I wanted to do a little accuracy testing on these Greentips, right? These are the M855s, okay? This is very popular, lots of people buy this stuff. So I tested this out, and I also tested out some of these American Eagles, just since I happened to have some of these on hand. I wanted to see if there was much of a difference in the accuracy of this ammunition. But I did the bulk of the testing with this stuff here from Federal. Okay, so I tested it in two different rifles. Okay, both 18-inch barrels, and both of these rifles have shot a half MOA on numerous occasions. Okay, so on many occasions these rifles have shot a half inch at 100 yards. And even at 200 yards, I've hit that half MOA. Okay, so the reason why it's important, basically I know that I'm working with rifles that shoot well. Now, I'm gonna say, all right, I don't always shoot my best. Okay, so about 50% of the time that I shoot, I'm gonna shoot, let's say, an inch to an inch and a quarter with these rifles. If I'm, shooting decently, I mean, I can always have a screw up where I really throw a bullet off, but so about 50% of the time I'm coming in at about an inch to an inch and a quarter. But the 1-inch groups I do hit quite frequently with these rifles. About 25% of the time I'll hit a 3/4 inch group, a .75, and about 25% of the time, if I'm really trying hard, I will hit that half-inch group at 100 yards. Now, a lot of variables, that gotta come into play with that. First of all, the wind, there has to be like no wind, okay? Because 10-mile-per-hour wind will move your bullet a half inch at 100 yards. So, unless you have good wind conditions, you're not going to hit that half-inch group. Okay, so I'm working with accurate rifles here that we have hit that half MOA group. And I started off with this 855. Now, just yesterday I was shooting the XM193. I did a whole bunch of shooting with that, and I'm going to talk in terms of trends because again, I'm not always going to be shooting my best, So we're going to talk in trends. So the trend that I saw yesterday with the XM193 was basically most of the groupings were coming in, close to 3 inches, 2 3/4, working their way down to 2 inches. I did hit the 2-inch group, but I think I only got like 1 2-inch group. It was a struggle, to get down to that 2-inch group with the XM193. And the weather conditions were better yesterday when I was shooting it. So today, weather conditions are a little bit worse. At one point, it was snowing, and I actually had to shoot with gloves on because the guns were really cold. So it was a lot chillier earlier. So the weather conditions are a little bit worse today. So with the Greentips, I'm hitting basically 2 inches, trending towards 1 inch. Okay, so what I am finding is that these Greentips on these rifles are shooting better. Let me show you some groups. So here's a group put out there. So this was on the Ruger MPR. Okay, nice 2-inch group right there. Okay, put this aside. So this one here is interesting. So here I did 2 groups of 5. Okay, so first let's look at the circle ones. Okay, so I've got in this group I got 2 bullet holes touching here, 2 bullet holes touching here, and then the 5th one went not way the hell up there. Okay, so the total group came in at 3 inches, but let's assume I screwed that one up. I got 4 shots here that are 1 inch. I said, let's shoot this again. All right, so now looking at the holes that are not circled, right? I did a 4-shot group that came in at 1 1/4 inch, and I got one that went way the hell up there. Okay, so that is something that does happen where I'll get like 4 shots and then one will be like way off. I don't know if that's me or if there's just maybe there's a little inconsistency in the ammunition. I don't know, but basically you can see that it is clearly trending towards that 1 inch. Okay, I'm you know, if I had only shot 4 shots here, you know, I would have said, hey, I got a 1 inch group. That's why I shoot more than just 4 shots, you know, and I do it several times so that we can see a pattern starting to develop. Okay, so that's why I say 2 inches. This is probably more of the average that we can expect, an average of 2 inches trending towards 1 inch, right? Because if I knock out that 1 shot over there, then the other, you know, the other 4 shots here are 1.25 inches. Okay. Shot this again over here. Now this time I shot it in the Palmetto 222 Wild. And now I shot the first one I did was like way off. Like I know I pulled that shot off, so I really screwed that up. Came out to like 4 inches. I'm like, wow, that really sucks. So I said, you know, let's just shoot this again. So the next time I shot this, I threw 1 shot off that went out there, right? And then all the rest of them are basically in 1.5 inches. Okay, so I got 1.5 inch group, 1 shot way the hell out there, which opens it up to 2.25 inches with that one I threw way out there. But as you can see, you know, now you guys understand what I'm saying, that it's like, you know, 1.25 inches here with these 4 shots. It's trending towards 1 inch, okay? Under better weather conditions, which I can see some snowflakes starting to come down, less wind, you know, I feel that I'm going to get the 1 inch group more regularly with the green tips on these rifles, right, than I am with the XM 193s. Okay, that's the pattern that I'm seeing on today's shooting. Okay? And then I also tried this American Eagle. I don't have a whole lot of stuff with this, so I only shot this once. So I did 5 shots. So we're just looking below the line over here, right? These shots. So it's actually 5 shots, right? Even though you see 4 holes here, that's because like there's like a hole inside a hole here, right? So there's actually 2 bullets in there. That's just shit luck. But basically, you can look at the 4 shots over here. The 4 shots are basically at 3/4 inch, and then I threw one way the hell up there. I don't know what the hell how that happened. Again, maybe there's some inconsistency in the ammo, or maybe I'm just pulling the shots. I mean, that's entirely fine. So the total group opened up to 2 inches, but we got a nice group in there. That's 3/4 inch at 100 yards. So there's a pattern that I have noticed, right, between shooting the XM 193s yesterday and the green tips today. On both this Ruger, which this is a 5.56 NATO barrel. This Palmetto here is a 223 Wild barrel. On both, you know, both 18 inches on both of these guns, but this one is a stainless steel barrel. You know, that one's just, I don't know, whatever a black barrel. I mean, whatever metal that crap is. The standard 5.56 NATO barrel. So the trend that I am seeing is that the green tips out of 2 different brands here are shooting a little bit more accurately. Okay, so now let's talk about first, one of the things that people will say is that the XM 193s tend to fragment more, whereas the green tips are going to make little ice pick holes. Okay, now what I'm testing out here is accuracy for basically for a distance capability. Okay, so these rifles here, even though basically this is a variable 1 to 10, the other one's a 1 to 8. It's basically the primary purpose of these rifles, right, with the 18-inch barrels, is to shoot at distance. The capability to come down to 1 power is for like the oh shit situation. I gotta get out of here, you know. So, but these rifles are primarily intended to shoot at distance. You know, ideally you want to engage at distance. You don't want to let the threat come close to you if this is the type of equipment that you are working with. So, the reason why I'm more concerned with accuracy versus fragmentation is that at the type of distances that I would envision engaging with these type of rifles, the bullet is going to slow down, right? So, you know, if you're trying to engage at 300 yards to 500 yards, right? This is what I kind of see as the ideal engagement range with this rifle, 300 to 500 yards, these 18-inch barrels. at that distance, the bullet has slowed down consistently. So what I did another test yesterday where I was shooting, I had lined up some barrels here, and I was shooting, basically 5.56 out of a 7.5-inch barrel. Okay, so at 7.5-inch barrel, the velocity is only going about 2,150 feet per second. Okay, so 2,150 feet per second, which works out to about 650 foot-pounds. So at that velocity, what I showed you guys in the video, okay, is that the bullets, when I shot the barrels, the bullets went in really nice in the front, made a nice perfect hole, okay. But then on the back side, right, even though these barrels are very thin-skinned, and you can shoot it with a 22 long rifle out of a pistol, and it'll go through both sides. What we saw yesterday in that video is the bullets were going in really nice through the front, but they were keyholing out the back. Okay, so even though it's a thin-skinned barrel, it's going through nothing but air in between, right? It's not even passing through tissue or anything like that. As soon as it hits that first barrier, right? As soon as it enters, the bullet destabilizes. Because it's going at a slower speed, it immediately starts turning over, and it's keyholing out the back, making a much uglier hole. So as far as the green tips over penetrating, at the type of engagement distance that I'm envisioning this type of a setup for, right, at 300 to 500 yards for an ideal setup, it's going to go in nice. It's going to come out ugly out the back because it's going to be keyholing out the back. Okay, and that, I think that would also be the case with the XM193, right? Even at that type of a distance, it's possible. I haven't tested it, but it's a possibility that the bullet might not be going fast enough to actually fragment. Okay, so you might have a similar effect. I think I would expect that the keyholing will probably do more damage than any fragmentation at that distance. That part I haven't tested, so I'm just speculating on that based on what I'm seeing. That as soon as when the bullet is going at that velocity of about 2,100 feet per second, it's slowing down. It hits the first barrier. As soon as it hits something, it immediately starts turning over. And that's gonna make a nasty one. Now, what about at closer distances, right? Well, at closer distances, you got a 30-round magazine, right? If you're at closer distance, right, you flip this down to 1 power, and the first hit doesn't stop your threat. I mean, you stop putting on, you put enough little, pinholes in there, it's gonna stop them, okay? But like I said, these rifles, the way I envision them, they are ideally you want to be engaging at distance. Especially because you have the heavier gun, right? The heavier gun, 18-inch barrel, heavier scope on top. So, distance is definitely your friend with these rifles. So, a couple of ideas for you guys to think about, and I'm not saying that this is the one and only way. It's just, something for you guys to consider. Let me know what you guys think. Drop something in the comments below, and I'll talk to you guys soon.